Hey guys, Colin here from the Deep Tissue Massage Center, and I want to show you a series of 3 stretches to target 3 main muscles that tend to restrict the range of motion of your shoulder joint. So I see people all the time that end up with injuries in and around the shoulder area, whether it's a broken bone, whether you've fallen and landed on your shoulder, whether your arm's gotten yanked suddenly by walking the dog or what have you, or maybe you've had some sort of surgery around or near that area. What you have to keep in mind is that any kind of trauma to that area is going to cause the surrounding musculature to want to lock up to protect the joint from further injury. The problem with that is it restricts your blood and oxygen flow to that area and it slows down your healing process. What we want to do is actually the opposite. We want to open up those key muscles that tend to cause the area to bind down. We want to increase the blood and oxygen flow to that area so we can heal faster. So we're focusing on 3 main muscles. The first one is called the Subscapularis. It's right underneath the shoulder blade here, the front part of the shoulder blade. Often overlooked area, very, very important for range of motion in the shoulder to get that opened up. Second one is called the Pectoralis Minor, comes down this way, or Pec Minor, and this is one that tends to get focused on a lot for shoulder restriction, so we really want to focus on that. And the last one is called the Latissimus dorsi, which is your big back muscle that attaches to the top of the hip all along the lower part of the spine and comes in and attaches to the upper part of the arm here. The most important thing to remember is that all 3 of these muscles have a tendency to roll the shoulder in and pull it down. What we're trying to do is the exact opposite. We want to allow the shoulder to come back, roll back, and we want the whole joint to be able to open up. So let's go ahead, work on these stretches. We're going to start with the subscap, then work to the pec minor, then work to the lat. So here we're looking at the subscapularis muscle. You can see along the underside of the shoulder blade here, it attaches there and then it runs out to the bone of the upper arm, and when it shortens, what it does is it rolls the shoulder inward. So this is the first muscle that we're going to address. In order to release the subscapularis, I'm going to have you sit sideways in a chair like this so you can put your forearm up onto the back of the chair just like so. This will allow you to get your elbow away from your side so you can get up and underneath that shoulder blade. Now what we're not trying to do is we're not trying to get up into the armpit at an inward and upward angle. That's a whole other area. What we want to do is sit in this position like so. You're going to take your hand and make it nice and straight. You're going to bend at the wrist and you're just going to follow the edge of this upper chest area. You're just going to follow it straight back as if you're pointing straight to the wall behind you and pushing back in that direction. And what you'll do is you'll run into what feels like a hard structure, and that's the underside of your shoulder blade. Now it might feel a little bit squishy, it might be a little bit tender as you give it some pressure. That's what we would expect when the subscapularis is tight. What I'm going to have you do is use your fingertips, continuing to push back toward the wall and feel around into that area, and you're going to find some tight, tender spots. What I want you to do with those tight, tender spots is take some deep breaths into that area. With the out breath, try and relax around that finger pressure. You're going to find a few different spots like that and try and release them. Now once you've released them just with your breath, what you can do to add to that is you can push down with the palm of your hand as if you're pushing it down toward the floor here, but pushing isometrically just onto the back of the chair. And what that does is it activates this muscle, the subscapularis. It turns it on and it gets it to fire. And you'll feel it actually kind of pop into your fingertips a little bit when you do this. Now, you don't want to lift your elbow up when you push down. It's just a light push down with the palm. And as you do this, holding one of the spots that's tender, it'll actually become more tender probably as it pushes into your fingertips. Again, take some more deep breaths into that, try and let it relax. I would spend about 30 seconds, maybe to a minute, trying to get this area to let go. The next muscle we're going to target is called the Pectoralis Minor. It's an upper chest muscle, runs right down through here as you can see, and we're going to be targeting this area right in through here with the ball and then do another stretch for the whole muscle itself. So to release this Pectoralis Minor, we're going to do 2 different things. First, we're going to target the spot where all those fibers attach, which is right here. So you can see in that diagram how all the fibers then come down like so. So when it shortens, it rolls your shoulder forward and it pulls it downward, which restricts your whole shoulder range of motion. So we're going to target that spot right here. Now, in order to find it, what you're looking for is if you bring your fingers and just run it across the underside of your collarbone here, along the top of the chest, kind of horizontally, you'll feel a little dip before it becomes the front of your shoulder here, right here. Right in that dip there is where all those fibers attach. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a rubber ball like so, you're going to put it right on that spot, and you're going to come into a door frame, or you can do this against a wall, You're just literally going to be leaning into it to put light to moderate pressure in that area and rolling back and forth horizontally. So just like so, and I'm looking for some tender spots in there. Now I might find them more up here, I might find them a little farther down if I was kind of following those fibers down this way. So you're just kind of looking through this area here. You can roll it horizontally, you can roll it at an angle, roll it up and down. But what you want to do is find a nice tender spot in there, hold some pressure, take some deep breaths into that area, and just try and let it relax as best you can. Then once you've done that, then roll back and forth horizontally, roll up and down vertically. And what that tends to do is it tends to iron the muscle out and stretch out some of those adhesions in the fiber. Now, once you've done that, we've already kind of laid the groundwork to then get that muscle let go more. So we're then going to do a doorway stretch where you're going to take the front of your forearm here, you're going to put it against the door jamb. Now my upper arm, I want it at a 45-degree angle going upwards so it targets these fibers of the muscle. So just like so, and I'm going to step forward with the same side foot. So right arm is in the door jamb, right foot steps forward, and I'm going to try and keep my body as square as possible, meaning my shoulders equal here, pointed straight ahead, not turned like this. So if you have to take a shorter step in order to do this, you're going to do this until you feel a good stretch right through that area there. You're going to hang out there for about 30 seconds to a minute, as much as 2 minutes, and just really breathe into that area and try and let that go. That's how we get this upper chest to let go. The last muscle we're going to target is called the Latissimus dorsi, or the lats. And it's the big back muscle here that attaches all along the spine, top of the hip, and it runs right, and you can see right here to the front side of this upper arm. When that shortens, it again rotates the shoulder forward. So the last important stretch we're going to do here is for the Latissimus dorsi, or the lats. This is the big back muscle that attaches right here on the front of the shoulder again, upper arm, and it runs down underneath, and it runs all the way down to your low back and attaches all along the spine. So it's a big muscle. We got to get some extra leverage, so you're going to use your body weight for this. What I'm going to have you do is, in a doorway like so, I'm going to have you point your toes toward the door jamb and keep your feet fairly close together. Bend at the knees and then grab the door jamb. In this case, we're stretching the right side. That's what we've been focusing on. Grab the door jamb with your hand. So that's your anchor. Now, from this position, what I'm going to do is I'm going to then start to drop my butt backwards. I'm dropping my body weight backwards to start to stretch this muscle out. Now, I don't necessarily want to twist like this. I want to try and keep my body fairly square so my shoulders are square toward the door jamb here. And I'm just going to hold that, let my body weight drop backwards, and I'm going to hang out here for about 30 seconds to a minute and try and let your arm relax also so that your grip is the anchor and that your back muscle can really relax. Let your butt drop back as far as you can, and that's going to help a lot.